Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Buckle up for the New Year's Eve 2025 Lollapalooza, best day of the year. I'm joined by my co-host, Mike Drop Calhoun, founder of Board of Advisors, Unbelievable Community of Culture, Judd Burdon, the one and only founder, aka Asphalt Kingdom, and so much more amazing things. The spirit and love of the entrepreneur. I learn from him every time we talk. Gray Wilson, somebody that knows how to stop, think, pay attention, put himself in his customer's shoes, who's building Revolution Capital. We'll talk about that. And Robert Frehafer, a man that I met in the most dire of consequences, who actually helped me buy my wife's first wedding ring.
Hmm.
And that's really all you need to know about this man, Frehafer Robert.
I'm out. Good
Wow,
morning. Nice to
Mike.
meet you.
Nice to meet you, Robert. Nice to meet
Oh,
you,
oh
Gray.
shoot. Sorry, guys. I'm still like bumpy on this. We're
Good
we're
to meet
talking
you.
about we're talking about our word for the last year, what we learned and what our words for. And Mike, I know you had a few words, my friend.
I do. I don't know what Zoom just loves to rearrange all of your screens. We just had a great session. Gentlemen, what time is it? It's 7 a.m. We've been doing this since 5 a.m., believe it or not. Mr. Jay Doran and the Lollapalooza podcast marathon. I think we did it last year. We did 14 or 15. This year, I think there's 18 or 20 on the plate. We should be going well into the new year at this rate. Looking at the calendar, I was just staring at the calendar. Actually, I was reading up on Judd and Robert as we speak here. So we are going to share our words from last year and this year. Last year, we only had one word. This year, we kind of have a contrast between the prior year and this year coming up. So far, we've actually done 2 sessions, but we've knocked out conversations with 4 individuals, I guess myself being one of them, and 3, Judd was on the prior one. So, Gray, we're going to kick it off with you first, buddy. Thank you for being here. Gray, you are the founder of Revolution Capital Group. You're also partners with Keaton in your partners with Keaton. Is
Keating.
Keaton coming on?
Not just
He's
me
not.
today.
Okay. So you understand the real estate as an asset class. Give me a little bit of the elevator pitch, 30 seconds. What is it that just makes you super special in the sense of real estate and capital? It sounds like you've got a great passion and intention for, investors in general. You've outsized returns, and you just are doing an awesome job in your industry. Give me 30 seconds on you, just real quick, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, like you said, Revolution Capital Group, we're a real estate and private equity focused investment group here in Philly. On the real estate side in particular, and actually a lot of the way that Jay and I connected was through our passion for value investing, which really hasn't been in vogue in the real estate world over the last 5 years, probably. It's been a lot of fun, and a lot of people have made a lot of money by pulling out white ovens and putting in stainless steel ones and selling it 5 years down the line and telling everybody what a great job they did. Our focus is a little bit different. We're much more intentional in the assets that we buy. We're much more focused on long-term holding and durability. We don't think about anything for less than 10 years. So we're really, really intentional about our long-term focus and finding, like you said, outsized returns for our investors and making sure those outsized returns last a long time. And that, 5 years down the line, we aren't trying to sell something. Like, unfortunately, a lot of my colleagues are trying to sell something today and handing back the keys to the lender or doing anything like that. So we're super long duration and durability focused.
Are you an SFR or are you multifamily?
Multifamily. So we do mixed use. We're really focused on core Philadelphia. So we say river to river, vine to pine. We want to be on the best blocks with the best buildings for a really, really long time.
Are you doing anything in the workforce space?
Not right now. We have in the past. That's kind of my background is actually in affordable housing. So I was doing a lot of Section 8 and low income housing tax credit properties, mainly across the Midwest in a prior life. But one of the things that we learned was that you need to kind of invest where your feet are in real estate because it's so management intensive. And so we focus here in Philly.
Yeah, I like and we can dive into it more here, but the affordable side is a really bulletproof way to go based on all the benefits and rebates and tax kickbacks, all that stuff. So, very excited to have you on today. And I think you're a new relationship for me. You and Jay go back for how long?
Was it Jay, 2 years probably at this point?
Well, I was in the foster system for a minute, so we could be related.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
just this year. But however, one of my closest, like definitely closest relationships is how we met. I mean, a 17-year relationship. Somebody I hope to get on the show someday. But
You know, what's funny, Jay, is all of those multifamily properties, I'm sure they have roofing and siding on them, right? And usually it's one roof. I like to call it better together under one roof, right? So it's like really it's like a family and a community, right? Under one roof, we have all the units. How many units are you guys up to now, Craig?
So we own 22 and we manage about 1,000.
Nice.
So
Okay,
we
so
do a
you're
lot
on
of third-party management as well, which is another whole host of challenges and opportunities.
beautiful. So, and then now, Robert, so you're founder of Guardian Roofing and Siding, good friend of Culture Matters. Sounds like you've got two great children. You're a natural problem solver. Where are you based again, Robert?
Philadelphia as well, right outside of Northeast Philadelphia.
Awesome, awesome. So, how long have you been doing the actual roofing and siding stuff? It's the home services is just a booming industry right now, and we're watching, quite frankly, a lot of the home services, the leaders, the ones that are doing it well, leaning into acquisitions and mergers, really beginning to roll up revenue just through acquisitions instead of organic growth, more acquired growth. So give me just a little 30-second understanding or elevator pitch on you and the company, and it sounds like you have a great family as well, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, in a short, you talked about like how long we've been in the roofing and siding. I was raised in it, and not and home services in general. I come from a family of contractors, uncles, extended family. That's how I worked in the summer times doing siding. My dad was a piece working siding mechanic, would go out, and install jobs and get paid by the square foot that he installed. So, I was raised in the trades. This really focused direction that I'm in right now with roofing and siding on residential properties that have been impacted by storm damage since 2009. I was really narrowed down into that. So, 16 years or so. And it's been a life changer for sure from an opportunity standpoint. And the next thing, that you talked about with private equity and rolling up and all of these terms that, from a education experience, I don't have any. I have a few courses in college and things like this. So all this stuff I'm learning about, through Jay, through online, through YouTube. Somebody said the other day about education, and I wouldn't know how to quantify it, with the exception that YouTube will tell you what you watch, how much time you've spent. It really does a nice analytic for you. And I'm fully comfortable to say I've probably spent way more time than somebody that went to a college to try to start to understand some of these things. But yeah, it's an interesting and exciting time with this new opportunity in the home service business. But at the same time, coming from no experience in running a business, I came from a lot of contractors. I didn't come from business owners, although many of them had their own LLC and I had that experience of working for somebody. So the whole world of owning business, rolling businesses up, and all these type of things, it's like I could see it from the outside, and it's a bit intimidating. And I still have this mindset of 15 years in business of making sure that my business is getting run well. And I heard Gray say, when he talked about the property management and their own properties, and it's got its whole host of, I think, challenges and opportunities was the word that he used. And it's such a great way to on my end, I could say like, yeah, I'm ready to have a breakdown, or I'm so excited at the same time. That's how I would equate that to myself, is like, what I wonder, like, am I just blindly navigating through this, and how am I going to hold it together? Or yeah, there's so much opportunity out here. So, for me, it's an exciting venture in life. And then lastly, the part that you touched on with my family, same thing, right? There wasn't particularly a manual for me of how to stay married for 21 years. There was, I have 3 dads, 3 moms, right? Like, so I'm going against the grain here. And I'm very grateful to God, right? That's another thing that I would raise up, is that, through faith in Jesus, he's redirected my life as a teenager, and given me the opportunity to raise. I have an 18-year-old son who's home for the next couple of weeks from New York. He's going to school for his first year, just immersed in studying the Bible, with aspirations to be a missionary, a counselor, or a youth leader at this point. So, what a blessing for me, coming from his history of, addict, lineage, and even myself, I'm grateful to share, from being saved from, at the very end of my addiction, intravenous heroin using. So, these changes that God has input in my life, and my little beautiful 15-year-old daughter, that's not little anymore. She's almost as tall as me and way smarter and aggressive. And she's on a great path as well. Just two young adults that are going in a great direction. I'm really blessed to have that. So thank you guys. And I'm so surprised, you guys have been killing it since 5 a.m. That's so awesome.
I was about to say, like, the home services industry is just chock full of just good, honest, hardworking, individuals, right? And then you transitioned right into kind of the family side and a little bit of your personal history. And, it's an industry that I think when you're in it, you sometimes underestimate how valuable it is, because when you're in tech, you're always expiring. It's almost like, the cheese you left out on the shelf. It's always going bad. You're always having to rewrite the code. You're always having to hire another developer. It's a constant grind, and you're in competition with the world. Something that's wildly attractive about the home services industry is how hammer nail it is, and how scalable it can be when run really well. You started saying, focusing on my own business, running my own business, making sure my own business is, operating the best that it can, much less acquiring somebody else's. The magic is, these are businesses that can really run well, in a sense of hammer, nail, and realistically, I'm really inspired by a relationship that we have in the plumbing industry. One of the previous guests was saying that he's the chief inspiration officer. They built one of the top plumbing companies in Florida by really just inspiring their people and building great culture. They do what they do. It's really a pep rally every morning. So coffee, donuts, and like this big pep rally in this warehouse. It's like you almost feel like you're in the gymnasium again at high school, before they all load up in their trucks and go out and, hit the jobs. So, yeah, man, just want to encourage you. You're actually in the right place at the right time, doing exactly what you should be doing, especially with AI getting ready to kind of be quite a disruptor in a lot of the other industries. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have Judd. He's paving the way into getting our podcast started here. He is one of the top pavement companies in the country, even though he's moved out of the country. And he's also getting into the equipment side, the manufacturing side. And, we were on a prior podcast together. He's got big plans, not only for himself and his family. Sometimes we hit the numbers and we put some numbers on the scoreboard, but it's not the thing that brings us the fulfillment. And I think Judd is on a path looking for what's the max value for himself in life. We all kind of get to that point where, all right, we're not worried about the bills. We're not worried about putting food on the table. What can I accomplish in this thing called life, and how valuable can I become to myself, my family, and others? So it's just it's a privilege to have all of us here on the call today. Jay, do you want to jump into the words, the contrasting the words from last year and this year, or what's next for us, buddy?
I have something I gotta get out, guys.
Sure.
I gotta get Mike. Thank you so much. Gray, inspirational. Robert, inspirational. Wow, incredible. What a journey to go through that hardship, and then to find a bright light and to have a path that's a lot more clear. And the energy that comes off of you, brother, is incredible. Like, I want to jump through the screen and be in the room with you and have a really, really deep conversation, man. Because I've gone through some hardship too in my life, and just here's the thing, like, Robert, I'm really, I got to ask you this question, man. Like, how would you define the stereotypical blue collar worker?
Addict, uneducated, or alcoholic. Uneducated, foul-mouthed, untrustworthy, late, sneaky or conniving is the untrustworthy part. And let me rephrase that. You know what? I answered the question how I think that others would define the blue collar worker. I apologize.
Oh,
You're
no.
asking me how do I define the blue collar worker? I truly today I'm so surrounded by I would say, for lack of better words or knowledge, Latino workers, Spanish workers, and I would define the blue collar worker as humble, hardworking, trustworthy, family oriented, disconnected from the things of the world, saving, putting others before themselves, like sending their money to their family to take care of them, and needing a guide and some opportunity in what I would say the landscape of what business has to offer. So yeah, that's how I see the blue collar worker today.
Incredible, right? Like, I mean, and I would communicate it very, very similar to the way that you just communicated, what you just said right there. From the outside looking in on the services industry, facility managers, property managers, homeowners, they see it the way you originally said it. Leaders that are in this service-based business world, you, myself, Gray, people who are in paving, concrete, pressure washing, roofing, gutters, any services, exterior services or interior services, as leaders, we have a responsibility to help expose what you said as the true blue collar worker. We are the ones that actually can create that movement. We have the opportunity to do that through marketing, through communication, right? Sales. We have the opportunity to be able to create a remarkable experience, the acronym CARE, in the things that we do. And how can we do it faster? Marketing and sales is one thing, but our our internal team members, the people that we're educating, that we're teaching about how to create budgets for themselves and live a life that actually is fulfilled, right? How many of our team members internally in our companies and or the communities exist out there? How many of these people have written out an 18-month plan about what their future could look like in 18 months from now and starting to lay out that yellow brick road? How many of them actually have sat down and worked with the company that they either own with their team and or work for a company? How many of them have sat down and actually gone through some thinking around core values? Like, not all that many. And so we have work to do, man, as leaders in the industries that we're in, everywhere. As leaders, we have a very, very important responsibility. We have to make the world a better place. And so what you said as your primary comment about the stereotypical blue collar worker is very, very telling, especially being that we're the ones that are leaders in our pods, right?
Absolutely. Thanks, Judd.
Man, it came up, we hosted an AK Roundup event where we had, 100 people in a room. These were all asphalt maintenance and repair contractors that were in there. And I asked them to raise their hand if they were proud of what it is that they did. And some of them were midway. They thought, when I asked them to describe what it is that they did, well, I'm a seal coater. I'm a seal coater. No wonder their hand is only halfway up. I'm a roofer. And as soon as I changed, I said, no, you're not. You're not a seal coater, man. You're a pavement asset management company. You're committed to keeping pavement safe, long lasting, and looking great. And you have a responsibility to keep people safe out there. Everybody was like, majority in the room were like, I'm not just a seal coater. You mean I can go home and feel proud of what it is that I do, that I'm not just a seal coater? It's like roofing, same thing, man.
Absolutely.
We manage right? It's a roofing asset manager, or however you would call it, right? It's the number one most important thing on any building. Next comes pavement. Is that right?
I would think it's a pretty important part. Yeah. I might be biased in the industry.
Oh, cool, man. Like, to actually work in that industry, man, like to put roofs over people's heads to keep their families warm and safe, where they eat, where they communicate. I mean, how brilliant. Anyway, I wanted to share that, man, because there is a misconception out there about blue collar workers, dreamers.
Appreciate it.
Here's an interesting fact. There's a gentleman that kind of encapsulates this call just a little bit. His name is Raul Luna. He moved from San Francisco. He joined Board of Advisors, which is my company, and we can get into that later, but he joined our community from San Francisco. We were doing all of our events in Sarasota, Florida. It took him about 2 quarters, and he moved from San Francisco to Sarasota, Florida, because he just couldn't find the community and the relevance. He was in real estate, doing a lot of the rehabs himself, doing about $1.2 million a year gross, revenue for him and his family after all said and done. And what he realized was the Hispanic market is who he served in the real estate industry. And it's really exactly who we're talking about right here, Robert. He went on to create an education program on how to run a real estate business. Instead of employing them, he put them to work in their own businesses. In just the education side, he did 25 million last year. And in the real estate side, he did 75. Because he empowered the people. And you got to look, I'm telling you that your demographic there when it comes to the workforce is the most, you build them up, they are the most loyal population. It's by nature, it's their culture. But when you really give them and show them love and you build them up and you encourage them and you unlock their value by identifying it and acknowledging it, they're your army.
I want to acknowledge that's a profound statement. But Robert,
Sorry for interrupting you. But yeah, so that's part of my challenge in the world today. You know, we touched on AI, we touched on rolling up a business, we're touching on education and growing others' success to make. So and I don't know if it's experience, time, industry. There's so many factors that go into it. I'm 48 years old, and that there's a few directions, and I've learned from working with Jay, like I easily I often say, like, he holds a mirror up so I could see myself. I can go all over the place, and many of the times in my business, career of 15 years, like, it's real nice to say, like, yeah, I've been in this for 16 years, but I know what that 16 years looks like. I know the rabbit trails that I went on. I know the distractions that I've had. So the last 5 years has been really honing in and staying, that terminology, like a mile deep and 2 inches wide. And that's really hard for me generally to even do. And I wouldn't say that would be a fair representation of what actually occurred. But in comparison to the 10 years prior, there's a lot of improvement. But right now, there's like all these stimulating things going on for me. And I don't mean right now in this call, but in my, overarching 18-month timeline with AI and these other things that I mentioned. And that's a big part of, and I'm almost, I would say, I don't want to say scared. I think of things and I'm like, man, I think this could be the golden ticket, right? Like this could be the next thing. And it's all in line with what you're talking about. So, I don't have a concern of speaking freely. This is going out to wherever else, but truly, because it's part of my wheelhouse, and who else to be more excited to do it. But so that's I've been talking to people about it for the last, year, a little bit, close people to me about, I see what goes on in America. Like contractors come in call immigrants, right? Will come in, they'll learn how to work on shoes. Next thing you know, they're the $1 billion shoe and hat company, because the children come in, and then the children start learning, go to school, right? It's just the American way. So from this roofing side or trade side of things, that's really, and my brain gets distracted, and I start to work on how can I do that? How can I take what I know? And I'm coming up with all these ideas of like, all right, let me be the sales and marketing arm of their company. Let me bring that to it, because there's also the internal side of myself that it's like, yeah, I want to be tied to the relationship in the business, because I want to create value that then will continually create equity, income, et cetera, for what I'm bringing to the table. So, to sum all that up, there's multiple ways that my brain is running down lately, even to the point where I'm like, all right, I have to really talk to people about this. Is this how logistically to do this? How to make this happen in the right way, where I can support those that are closest to me without cannibalizing my own business, right? Because from lack of attention or distraction, which is old behaviors, as well as just literally pulling out the workforce from it and helping them go great and bringing down my sales department to support theirs, to more of a holistic view. So, you talk about these things, and it's definitely on my mind of how to do this, but that's where I'm at. And, again, I say, have all these other things going on. Plus I have to hold the core. Not I have to. My place is in chief inspiration officer. Is that what the term was? I'm the leader. I'm excited to hold Guardian together, cast the 2026, 2027 vision, where we're going, how we're going to get there. But I also see these opportunities with education, AI, the roll up, and these new opportunities to take the workers and roll them into not just an install department, but an overarching company. So appreciate you sharing it, Mike, and it's definitely on my mind. And I just that's the challenge. Like even when we talk about what's the word for 2026, right? I'm excited to hear how that part goes because I have about 14 words. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have it laid out. That would be anyway. So thank you for bringing it up. It's exciting times, from a standpoint of opportunity that's out there this year.
We need to
Awesome.
talk. We need to talk, Robert.
We're here.
We'll connect. Yeah.
Almost like somebody orchestrated it for the right people to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah, I will say, I would hate to, obviously, Mike and Jay, thank you guys. I will say that even when I say that, if there was any impact that I could bring to this meeting, because it's exciting, right? We're meeting at 7 a.m. You guys been up since 5. And, when we talk about orchestrating and bringing people into the right place at the right time, I don't know where everybody is in their walk with spirituality and God, but that's a very important part because for me personally, what I bring into 2026, I want to do it in an honoring way, right? I want to do it in a way that calls out that. I just went to a service last Sunday at a different church than I usually go to, and the pastor was a pretty famous pastor. His name's Joe Focht. He's been a pastor for 50 plus years in Philly, and he was saying like, hey, we have like 10 of these prophetic things are going on in our generation. Like, let's not just like shake that off or be, unaware of these things. So I just say that like, as we go about our days and and to hold these things in tension together, we're leaders in business. We're leaders in community. We're leaders in our families. We're leaders in the world, and we're trusted with resources at this point. Judd, Gray, just getting to know you, Mike. I know a little bit about what you're doing. You Jay, you guys you're trusted in the community. So I say all those things because we're sitting in a position that not a lot of humans in history or even in current day have this opportunity, right? So I want to bring that into, and we're not going to discuss it, but I just want to bring it into focus as we go into 2026. Like, whoa, somebody orchestrated for each one of us to be in this place, in this time, and in this medium of resources to do stuff with, right? So, all that being said, what that is for each individual, I know Jay is very involved in North 10 or 10 North, and I apologize for not particular. It's an amazing opportunity to serve and to give back, and it's an area. It's North Philly, near and dear to my heart. I talked about the addiction and things like these are streets that I've been on, and I would say negatively impacted that neighborhood by my interactions with it. So all that being said, as we go into 2026 and we focus on these things, I just want to rise that up. It may not be as exciting, for like, all right, hey, what are we going to do for God this year? What are we going to do in our spirituality or the understanding of who we are in the relationship with a creator of this world? But for me, it's something I like to pass that excitement along as well. So that's as we move on to our words for 2026.
Hey, I've got somebody for you. Robert, you should look up this guy. His name is Robert Breaker. Robert Breaker. Just like the waves are breaking. Robert Breaker. He's a badass. Like, and he just is no fluff, just scripture by scripture. And I think he's your type of individual. So he's on YouTube.
Thank you.
He's out of like the Pensacola, Florida area, like the Panhandle.
I will. I commit.
He's not interested. He's committed. I like this guy. Gray, talk to us. Jay, let's get the words out there.
I want to name something first, just the way that this room is listening to itself. So Robert was on the show last year. I believe it's episode 702 or three. I'm glad I show some failure because sometimes people say, "Oh, you know all the episodes." Not yet. I don't know all of them yet. Which
Hold on,
which
hold on.
does which does bother me.
Jay, how many friends do you have?
Notice the body language change. You're my friends.
No, the other
I'm
day he
not sure if
gave
it's
me
too many or not enough.
he
I'm not
gave me the number the other day. I'm like, what?
345. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Who
People.
knows
Yeah.
the number?
Yeah. 129 in Philadelphia. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
That's not that's
Yeah.
not normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not the number. It's that you know the number.
Well, yeah, there are 129 people that I really care about in Philadelphia. There's about three in Naples, so I clearly need to be more intentional here. Bill Ryman, Hector Sanchez. Jenna doesn't count. So anyway, I digress. So I was the reason I
I
bring
felt
that
like an
up is
underachiever though when you shared that. I'm like,
you're
man,
fine.
I got to get my shit together. I got to start counting my friends.
I don't think I could name 129 people, let alone 129 friends.
Most people I meet, I come across, I say, listen, you think I am either connected to or can connect or have the ability or capacity or intention or desire to do so. Wait till you meet Mike Calhoun. He makes me look like I don't even leave the house. The guy, and you see, if you listen to the show, if anyone's listening to this, they started at 5 a.m. and this is their third show. The gentleman is the gentleman, Raul and Singletary, and he's got somebody that can help any of us and already has. So I'll digress. So the reason I brought up the episode of Robert last year, because he was with us last year, was I wasn't recalling what your word was 24 moving into 25, Robert. And I was do you recall what your word was? Because we had a conversation, and I think I recommend it to anyone listening to this. It was the three of us. So do you remember that, or do you have a word? Has it changed? That's my question.
We
For
went out to
26.
breakfast the other day and Jen's like, "Oh, what's your guys' words for the year?" And truly, I am planning out 2020. Actually, 2026 is late, but I haven't more of a I would say a mantra or a collection of words for this year. Last year, I know what I was going in saying all the time, which is education, discipline, and professionalism. And that's what I wanted to bring to the company. I wanted to lead through. I wanted to have us to have success through. But I don't recall it. And truly, just like today, even as we're coming on and we're like, "Oh, we're going to talk about our words." Like I'm writing down a few words. Like, nah, they don't fit, right? Like So for me, I don't recall what the particular word was at that, but for last year. But I just know that that's what I was talking about at going in from 2024 to 2025. Everything that I was talking about for 9 months was like through this education, discipline, and professionalism, and then now this year the last few months has been tweaked and
I have a question. It's a spell. It's like a word. It's not a spelling contest, but it's like a dictionary judgment. You're at the pearly gates, and the big man says you have to cross all the words off and only pick one, and you'll be judged for eternity. Which word do you pick on that paper?
Oh, right now for this paper?
Yeah, I'm just curious. So I made up that metaphor.
Innovate. Innovate is the word I picked from this paper.
We've got a lot of AI stuff going on in the pavement industry right now, man. A lot, and working very closely in major developments for national accounts with pavement assets that also have commercial roofs. Love to talk more about that with you when you have a minute. I've asked Jay for your contact info. I'm going to be reaching out to you today.
And Judd, that's because you're national, right, Judd?
Yeah, so we ship equipment and supplies all over North America, globally actually, and now moving into the whole technology arm where we're building out a platform that literally does pavement assessments at mass levels through AI takeoffs from aerial snapshots of high resolution imagery. It does all the blueprint and aerial takeoffs in an automatic fashion, calculates the square footage, assesses the property, and also invites a ground view as well from a crowdsourcing platform. And so we're able to go do pavement assessments, like let's say hypothetically McDonald's 14,700 locations. We could throw all those addresses into a platform, and within 72 hours, we'll have complete assessments with a feed into OpenAI that then gives them budgets and gives them an understanding of what needs to be done on a reactive liability perspective down to the least urgent. So we've got some pretty cool things unfolding, and I think it would really help with the roofing side as well.
Yeah. What's funny, Judd, is it's really hard to find pavement without a building sitting in the middle of it, right? It's like the building is like usually right smack dab in the middle of the pavement.
It's in the way of the pavement of the pavement aerials.
Yeah, he's got to look at that roof just to get to the pavement. Every pavement deal he's looking at, he's staring at a roof. And it brings up what I was gonna say, and then I cut myself off. Robert, some of these guys, I got a guy in Dallas. He doesn't even install the roof anymore. All they do is sell, and they developed an installer network.
That is one of the biggest things on my mind right now, this installer network. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're working with guys like Judd as an aggregator think about it. You're now bringing work to people who want to work and developing that contractor network to where you're going to do the part that they can't do. They can't go out and build a relationship with a guy like Judd because they're not relationship specialists. Judd trusts you because you're here, because Jay doesn't have 129 crappy relationships. He has 128 good ones. I'm working my way into it. But you have trust that just got installed by being on this podcast. Instantly putting a deal together with a guy like Judd would give you the opportunity to aggregate deals all across the country. And now all you're going to do is you're going to do the part they can't do. They can't sell. That's usually acquiring the business in the sense of, selling the jobs is the part that they all have trouble with. And most of them are referrals. Like those businesses, the smaller roofing contractors just run off of referrals for the most part, or they're doing a job in a neighborhood and somebody sees a sign on a truck and they just go from job to job to job in the sense of, but like they're not developing a machine in the sense of all they do is sell the job and then they farm it out. And what you could do is you could actually create a scoring algorithm around customer service, how timely they are, the quality assurance that you're so good at that you demand for your installers and your performance. What you do is you write the formula for excellence and then have your installer run those SOPs and protocols and then score them based on customer feedback loops, surveys, and you'll deploy and employ all across America with a guy like Judd.
You just shaped the coaching division right there, right? The roofing academy. Wow, that was cool. I like that one too. So you're telling me that these people could actually come and get trained every year, and new team members could get trained, and they get their stamp of approval that's a part of the contractor network with the gold star rather than the light blue star. Yeah. So yeah, Robert, this
You
is the
guys are going to make
shit.
so much money, you're going to have
And
to
they're
invest with
qualifying.
Gray.
They're
I hope
qualifying for the
so.
larger, better jobs. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you know it as well as I, Robert. If you were presenting in a room of 100 roofers right now that own roofing businesses, and you ask them, who here loves to market? Raise your hand. Nobody would raise their hand. Who here loves to sell? Nobody would raise their hand. Who here just wants work on their calendar and schedule? Everyone raises their hand.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty telling. So you're telling me that if we can do all the roofing assessments and pavement assessments with the facility managers, property managers, and property owners, and we can bring the lead to the table through a technology platform and then have a contractor network that can be getting these RFQs through the platform and bidding on the work, you could literally have this going through the platform. And if you own the proposal engine as well on the roofing side, now you're talking about full integration, right? It's lead to fulfillment. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing that right now. The pavement industry, roofing is pretty much a mirror.
And it's funny because that's the exact side where I'm like, man, if I could just go out and sell and put all this stuff together, I don't want to have to do the installation. It's a real challenge and manage all the nails and the thing. But it's the business, right? It is the business that I'm in. So yeah, that's great. Very, very.
How big of a pain in the ass is the permitting?
We're doing a lot of smaller projects, a lot of residential projects. So drawings and things like that they're not significant of a delay or anything like that. Where if you get into larger commercial projects, you'll need stamped drawings often for the water flow, and is it because there's a lot of snow load and things can sit on flat buildings. But all that being said, permits are, it's really it's nothing. Meaning, and I don't want to undervalue the work that goes into it, but we can take an administrative assistant that has no experience in it, run through a training for, you know, 2 hours, and then a couple of check-ins and a couple course corrections, and they understand a system of how to, no matter what township you're in, what questions to ask, how to deliver the information, how to follow up on the permits, and then how to get, any scheduled appointments handled, coordinated. So in the big picture, there is logistics with it, but it's nothing that it's not a big deal in the big picture. Permits are not a big deal.
Are you pulling permits, Judd, for anything?
Sir.
No.
Because we're not the contractor.
No,
Right?
no, I mean the pavement guys. Do the pavement guys have to pull permits for anything?
Depends on the state. Depends on the state. They will have to pull permits. But I mean, what we're doing essentially is when you have the contractor that's onboarding onto the network, you're going through all of the on the onboarding, all the due diligence and the insurance, and if there's permitting in the state that they're operating in, then you have to make sure that you're getting all the necessary information into the platform, right? They are your boots on the ground, so to speak. You need to become the lead generation side and the sales company essentially that connects with the performance partners. We don't call them subcontractors, they're performance partners that are executing on it. Performance partners is better culture, it's better partnership. Subcontractors, that's the stereotypical bullshit we were talking about before.
Now we're really digging into, it's so crazy how this meeting is going, but when you call performance partners, is there any other contractual insurance reason, things like that? Because what I've been looking at, what this type of a plan that would be laid out, one of the challenge with calling someone a subcontractor is that I become the principal contractor. And in roofing, that's one of the largest expenses is your liability, workers' comp insurance, and owning the work. And if you're going out there as a sales and marketing company, you're at pennies on the dollar of what your business expenses would be for that, and you're not contracting the work particularly, which then also relieves you from warranty management of client challenges. Of course, the whole thing is we're going to care. That's why we're sitting in on this call right now. We all care deeply. Our heart is literally attached to what we do every day. So that's not the point. But when you say that when you define it that way, Judd, is it anything more than cultural that motivated that level of language for you?
Yeah, I think when you're when Jay introduces us all here, I see you all as partners, right? It's how are we introducing a facility manager that's Giovanna, who's responsible for 128 mega plazas in the South. How do we introduce her with the pavement contractors, the pavement businesses that are our partners? Giovanna's our partner. Paving contractors are our partner. Giovanna with JLL is paying us 2 cents a square foot for all of the pavement assessment data that we're storing into the platform and enabling her to click the RFQ at a click of a button to go out to the contractor network, which are our partners, to execute on the work. The subscription on the contractor network side with our partners is the subscription to the SaaS product that allows them to push back the proposals and bids back to Giovanna. So there's MRR, ARR, coaching, academies, equipment, supplies, marketing. I mean, now we're integrating into integration. Now we're integrating the manufacturing. We're manufacturing the equipment. We're setting up the brick and mortar stores now, where those will be lighthouses on a map where our partners can go and get training. No one as the contractor can go get training, but they're our partners. Mike said love, right? Like that's partnerships have an opportunity to intensify love with the exchange of partnership, bringing value. When you think of subcontractor to vendor, there's no love there. That's dry, that's transactional. But you have a huge opportunity in front of you, Robert.
You'd probably end up creating relationships that would be fulfillment partners that would also be running their own network of subs. Depending on, especially if you partner here with a guy like Judd and you're, in every state, you would have fulfillment partners that are operating their subs, but you could quickly get to that point looking for those. The other thing that you have to also really calculate into the equation is you have a lot of these guys that will take a job to keep their guys busy so they don't lose their guys, even if they're not making money, because if they lose their guys, they're out of business. So it's about keeping their guys from going to the competition. So they'll literally take a non-profit job to keep guys busy so they don't lose their guys. So if you bank on basically, and it's also cash flow for them in the sense of, maybe they're not making money on the deal, but they're also keeping people paid and moving, right? Plus, they're going to get more jobs in the neighborhood if they're doing jobs in the neighborhood. So realistically, like top tiering the aggregate of selling the jobs is where it's at. Just said it. Your profitability goes through the roof because you have less compliance overhead, not just operational overhead.
Gray, you've been listening.
I've been taking, I'm on page 3 of my notes. So
I want you to help us close this out as we go into 8 a.m. And everyone's welcome. If you're interested, text me. I'll send you the email with the link. But you've been listening very intently, taking notes. My question is, before all the titles and this, and what was the first moment you knew you wanted to build or invest in something? And is there a word to embody taking that into the new year that comes to your mind? And if you could just close us out.
Yeah. So, like you said, I've been listening very intently. A couple things come to mind. The first, I was doing something similar to what you were, Robert. I was writing down what's my word going to be for 2026? The first 7 words I wrote down were honestly completely worthless. And they were just, the buzzwords that have been in my head lately. And I wanted to settle on something that felt personal, not just professional, right? Because if a single word is going to guide an entire year, it needs to encompass everything. And the word that I came up with was partnership. What you were just talking about, Judd. I'm getting married in 2026. I have a business partner. I have a personal and professional partnership that I'm super focused on this year, and getting off to a good start. The To your question about the first time that I knew that I wanted to build something, invest in something. That's a really good question that I don't know the answer to. Right? It's all one of those things like, when is the first time that you wanted to breathe air, right? Or drink a glass of water? It's like it's just in you, right? You just have it, or you don't, and some people don't, and it's clear that you guys definitely have it. One of the other words that I was thinking about was marketing, right? That's something that we're struggling with. Is it doesn't come naturally to us. One of our lines of business, we own 7 Jersey Mike's locations in South Florida. As you can imagine, marketing is a huge piece of that. And we've been going through the tracking and the scorecards and making sure we're doing everything right. Ultimately, what we've found is that the question that tells us everything we need to know is, how likely are you to recommend us to a friend on a scale of 1 to 10? That's the only metric that matters. And I think that goes back to the partnership piece too, right? Are you being a partner to your customers? Are you being a partner to the folks that you work with every single day? And I think that's going to be my focus kind of going into this new year, is how do I partner side by side? How do I partner, with my community? How do I partner with the folks who are relying on us to deliver a great investment opportunity or a great sandwich to them every single day? So that's my focus, and something that I'm really excited to hopefully deliver on in 2026.
If you're listening to this episode, I would challenge you to go. Blaise Pascal said, most of the world's problems come from man's inability to sit in a room alone quietly. I butchered that a little, but go do that and then turn this show on. That's maybe a paradox. Please share this with a friend. You're all unbelievably amazing. Mike, please, I know you have something profound to say.
Well, I want
Can you close us
to
out
encourage.
today?
Yeah, I want to encourage Gray here. Gray, and anyone like Gray, because Gray was gracious with his time by
Yes.
participating, and then he said, "Well, I could take some notes here, and I could probably walk away with some value." Gray, you seem like a really good human being, and you're financially sophisticated. You understand money and how it works and how to put it to work. Anyone like Gray that's not raising capital should be raising capital. Like you would be a perfect candidate for really just leaning into the art of raising capital so that you can manage the money for others who aren't as disciplined as you. And you should really get into the family office space and like those networks be wildly valuable for you. Andrew Ratosi is a good friend and connection, runs some of the largest ones internationally, from Dubai to Monaco, Miami. You've got Richard Wilson, been running Family Office Network, familyoffices.com since 2008. I just went to one of their largest events. But like, those are some great places to get access to people who are investors and funds. I know we've got to go.
Yeah, I
But
don't want to be rude to everyone else.
Ray, you need to lean into that, buddy.
I definitely will.
If you're listening to this episode, share this with a friend. Leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast so we continue investing in you. And man, I have so much more that I want to ask, but you guys are amazing. Love you. If you want to come on the next one, just send me a text, and we'll see you next time on the Culture Matters podcast.